Hamish Crocket. This is going to be a good one. Sport, playing with ethics. Ladies and gentlemen, Hamish Crocket.
Kia ora koutou. I'd just like to begin by waiting for my slide to come up. Thank you, Te Reira.
Would you like me? Oh, there you go.
That's good. I'd like to thank the support of my supervisors, Bob, Richard and Holly. I'd like to thank the ongoing support of my family and also my sports club, Hamatron, some of whom are here tonight. Thanks. So growing up and living in New Zealand, it's hard to escape the pervasive influence of sport. In fact, sport's so much a part of the Kiwi vernacular that we use terms such as fair play, a good sport, or it just isn't cricket, to describe non-sporting situations. And while these phrases clearly have some sort of ethical connotation, the link between ethics and sport is somewhat harder to pin down. Now, some might say that an ethical athlete is someone who plays the game the way it's meant to be played. However, this answer is only useful insofar as we can all agree on the way the game is meant to be played. Now, I argue that the solutions to these sorts of issues can't be found in the history of sport. Instead, we have to ask the athletes of today. We associate the invention of sport with the ancient Greeks, whose athletes at the Olympics would pray for victory or death, hardly an approach we'd endorse today. Nor, I suggest, do our understandings of fair play match those of ancient Rome, whose sports were unfairly weighted in favour of lions. Moving forward in time to the development of modern sport, we'd have to examine the British boys' public school, replete with rigid hierarchies, institutionalised violence, and spending about half their time playing sport. It was these rich white males who, as students, teachers and parents, developed many of the institutions of sport which we recognise today: rugby, soccer, cricket, and so on. But let's be clear about this. What these rich white males were good at doing were maintaining these sports for their own exclusive participation. It wouldn't have mattered to them how a woman might have played rugby. They would have never called her a good sport. So the questions, how should the game be played and what makes a good sport, can't be answered with reference to the past. As much as we might find ethical problems in sporting performances today, the solutions to these do not lie behind us. Instead, we must move forward to develop a contemporary ethics of sport. Now, my PhD examines the question, how should the game be played? More specifically, I ask athletes how they think they should treat each other while they're playing sport. Increasingly, I've found that athletes' ethical values do influence the way they play the game. Some talk of ethical dilemmas, situations in which they can see no good outcome arising, while some others talk of ethics as a demand to live up to a self-imposed standard of behaviour. In short, there's a real diversity of ethics, and it's becoming increasingly clear in my study that there's no single, all-encompassing theory which will explain how and why each of my participants engages in ethics. Nevertheless, my participants find ethics to be important. This offers a powerful conclusion which drives both my study and my own participation in sport. Even though there's no single, unchanging, right way to play the game, how you play does matter, because there are multiple ways to be a good sport. Thank you.
Yes, victory or death, the subheading of the new Rugby World Cup legislation.